Is it ever possible that there is too much of a good thing? Well, possibly. Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. Today I'm going to share a provisioning lesson that I should have known better in the first place. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, amazingly enough, is sponsored by Pantry in Paradise. As cruisers, we've all experienced LOB, or lost on board. You know you have something like a can of mushroom soup, but you just can't find it. Enter Pantry in Paradise, your go-to app for galley management. Pantry in Paradise tracks your provisions, where they're stored, and creates your next shopping list. Provision for guests or even extra weeks. Find Pantry in Paradise in the App Store and on Google Play. Before this whole coronavirus thing started, it was just in the glimmers of the future, which, as I say that, sounds like it was about 400 years ago, which is crazy. But I remember thinking, okay, it's time to go and do a stock up. We'd actually been eating down the food in the house because we were about to put it on the market, getting ready to go. And we decided that that might not be a smart move right now. We might as well just go and do a stock up like we were getting ready to go cruising. If we had food left when this thing blew over, we could move it onto the boat, no problem whatsoever. So I went to Costco. And I'm generally pretty smart and savvy about the idea that I don't want huge containers of things. One of the things that I really wish would pop up is some kind of warehouse store where you could just buy a case of small size mayonnaise jars or small cans of corn instead of the big monster ones. Because normally when you get something really big, you have to repackage it because I don't know a lot of boat fridges that have that kind of space to put a monster can of corn that's left and still have room for everything else that they've got in it. There are just some things that are different about life on a boat. So I'm well aware of that and pretty good about thinking about that when I'm buying cans and condiments and that sort of thing. I love going to Costco because I can buy cases of 14 ounce, 15 ounce cans of tomatoes, which is my favorite go-to size can of tomatoes. They're easy to use up in one fell swoop. No problem with storing them different places. They last for a long time. I can keep going on about the joys of that. One of the things we do tend to eat lots of is rice. I saw that big 25-pound bag of rice at Costco, and my understanding about the things that I need to buy in small quantities went out the window. I brought that whole bag home. And when I brought it home, I realized that that was not my smartest move ever. It's not actually that big of a problem to have a 25-pound bag of rice in the pantry. In the house, pretty easy. On the boat, definitely not so easy. And in the house even, I didn't want to open the big thing and have it just open nonstop. And so I went about repackaging that 25-pound bag of rice. I'm not sure that the cost differential, by the time I figured out the amount of time it took me and the extra Ziploc bags, because I don't have any lock and lock containers, or big glass jars. Actually, I probably will do big quart size wide-mouthed mason jars because I love to be able to reuse those pretty easily. Between that and lock containers, I'm going to repackage a whole bunch of stuff like that. But I didn't have those as I came home from my Costco trip and put all my stuff away. Yes, I spent a lot less, maybe. Actually, I don't even know what I spent on that 25-pound bag of rice. I'm sure it was less than I would have spent on smaller size bags. But I had the hassle of repackaging it and using up the Ziploc bags. I do reuse the Ziploc bags. You can wash them out and reuse them over and over and over again. If I figure out the time that it cost me to repack it, if I figure out the additional cost of the storage containers or bags that I needed to repack that 25-pound bag of rice, I'm not sure, honestly, that I saved anything at all. Rice is one of those staples that we use all the time. It is very easy to repackage into smaller containers, and I can store those smaller containers in different places on the boat. I actually have them in a different place in my pantry, but they're not taking up the same volume of space in the same way, if that makes any sense. As a provisioning mistake to make, this one isn't a terrible one. It's not like I'm going to waste the rice. It's not like I'm going to have to use up all my refrigerator space to store this once I open it. It's not like I am going to throw out the stuff, meaning that it would sting in my pocketbook. But it does remind me that that's a mistake that I made, and I'm a pretty experienced provisioner. I'm pretty used to buying for the boat and understanding all the nits and pieces and little bits and bobs that go into successfully provisioning on the boat. I got sideswiped and excited about saving the money on this thing of rice, which is something we use all the time. Even though it's a size container we can't easily store, even in a house, easier on a house than on a boat. So I think my provisioning lesson on this is a reminder to you, as a reminder to myself. It's more often than not better to buy a lot of smaller containers of something, even if it looks like it costs you more money up front, than one big one. When we share an anchorage somewhere, watch out. I might come up with some really awesome rice nibble to share with you while we toast our good fortune and say hello to each other as cruising friends. Thanks for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. If you like what you've heard, press like, subscribe, and don't forget to tell a friend about it. We'll talk to you soon.